In today's video, I drive through some deep creeks. I drive over narrow ledges. But will I be able to drive up this extremely steep road? Stay tuned and find out. This is the Silver Canyon Road. Hi, my name is Peng. I'm a photographer and I'm a travel addict. And in today's video, I'm going to attempt to drive this thing up Silver Canyon Road over there. The entrance to Silver Canyon is about 10 minutes northeast of the town of Bishop, California. The easiest way to find it is to take Highway 6 north out of town, then follow the signs to the Laws Railroad Museum. Stay on this road past the museum and it'll take you straight into the canyon. So the Silver Canyon Road actually goes all the way up and connects up with Bristlecone Pine. So the idea is I'll see if I can go up this way and then go all the way to Bristlecone Pine and loop back down. From that side is all paved road, it's pretty easy. Now there is a sign at the beginning of this trail that marks this trail as difficult, but I've also seen on like onX apps and some guidebooks marking this as an easy trail. I think it's like 2 out of 10 scale on onX, and I think the truth is somewhere in between, because the beginning of this trail is actually fairly easy, but then towards the end there is a really steep section of switchbacks, and if you're in, let's say, a Jeep or Bronco, just pop it in low gear and you just go up that slope with no problems. And I think the only problem you might have is if you're afraid of heights. But this thing weighs 9,000 pounds. It does have a low range because this is the older model with the 4-wheel drive and not the all-wheel drive. But this thing is so heavy, I have my doubts that whether it can make it up that slope, because I remember that slope is really steep. So we shall see. Oh, and on top of that, to complicate matters, this year California got a ton of water. We got record snowfall, we got hurricane. Death Valley was actually closed for a very long time, and today, October 15, 2023, is actually the first day Death Valley reopened, and there was a limited opening. They only managed to temporarily fix some of the roads, and other roads are covered in mud. And I also did a few other trails in the area, and they definitely suffer some water damage or erosion. I'll put that clip up there. One of the roads actually got severely damaged. Looks like this road is busted. There's a giant gap here from water erosion from the spring, and that's the road there. And this road, I know they temporarily closed it for a little bit, probably for repair. So I don't know what the erosion is going to be like, but I imagine there's going to be some damage. So there's that challenge. So we'll see. But you know, my van has a reverse gear and it's not an adventure if you just sit at home. So we're gonna push on and see what awaits us. But first, let's go air down the tires. As expected, as soon as I turned the engine on, the tire warning came on, but that's okay because I aired down. I know it's gonna happen. I'm sorry about how dirty the windshield is, but over here there's so many bugs on the road. As soon as I clean it at the gas station, in 10-15 minutes it's all covered again. So I'll try to stick the camera outside of the window when I can. People ask me this all the time: how do I find great places to sleep or great places to take dope boy pictures? You just gotta drive. Like right now, I'm just driving. Oh shoot, I drove past it a little bit, but there's actually a little road, I don't know if you can see, that goes up to that little plateau there. And it looks like it will be a nice place to camp. And oh, right here, see it? See that road? it looks like it will be a good place to camp and also a great place to pose for a photo, because behind me is the whole mountain range, Sierra Nevada mountain range. So there is no trick. It's you just gotta do it. You gotta go drive it to explore it. If you don't, you'll never find it. Well, good thing it's only mid-October right now. Looks like we're coming up to our first obstacle right here. Yeah, see all that road damage from water? Well, we're coming up to a second one here. This one looks a little bit tricky. I'm gonna go take a look and see how bad is this situation, because that trail, I don't know where it goes, so I would prefer to stay on the main trail if possible. Wow, this is interesting. Let me see here. That is really steep. So my first thought is, if I stick to the left and get my right wheel in the water and then drive up this somehow. But that is really steep. I'm not sure if the wheel can get up there. On second look though, I wonder if I can straddle this and have my right wheel over here and then drive over this. So basically put my right wheel on that, left wheel on this, and straddle it. Yeah, this drop is really steep. I don't know if I can. I have a size 13. I'm just using it for scale, and it's basically like this all the way. So I wouldn't want to drop down there. And since I don't have a spotter, this is going to be really difficult. Oh, should I do it? I'll give it a try. I mean, worst case, I just back down, right? All right. Initially, I was going to try my straddling idea. Basically, keep my left wheel on dry land, get my right wheel across the creek and up the other side. I had my front camera on, and it was at this point that I realized my van is actually a lot narrower than I thought, and there's no way I could get the van to straddle. Since I was already so far up the creek, the next thing I decided to try was to see if I can get my right wheel back up to this side of the creek. But as I suspected, the bank of the creek was too high and too steep to get up. So after a few more tries, I backed down to rethink this. I examined the situation, and I think I can. The van is narrow enough that I can skirt the left-hand side of the road, or in this case, right-hand side, and maybe come up there. Okay. So this is where the camera comes in handy, because I can see the track, and since I don't have a spotter, I can use the track and the camera to figure out where I'm going to go. So I'm going to try to stick as close to the left hand side as possible and try to get my wheel up from that point right there. That's the shallowest point. We'll see. If we can't do this, I'm not going to push it, but if we can, that would be cool. So just to give you an idea how close it is. I'm right on the edge here, and this is the creek. I basically followed this along the edge here and got up here. I think this deserves a picture. This is why I love how narrow this van is, because look at that little thing. You would think that the van would not fit, but it fits perfectly and with some room to spare. And that's really important on the trail. Okay. Oh, by the way, you want to know how I get an awesome doughboy picture? Well, there you go. That obstacle, I know I can get back because it's downhill is much easier, so I'm gonna keep going. But if there is an obstacle that I think once I cross over, but I'm gonna have a hard time crossing back, I'm gonna make sure I stop and turn around, because it's not worth it. All right, I mean, it's fun to be adventurous, but also you don't want to be stuck. So here's another creek crossing here. For creek crossing, I learned this from the Icelanders, and they are the experts at river crossing, so I trust them. But if you've never been to Iceland, they have major highways, like national highways that crosses rivers. There are no bridges in some rural parts, and they have so. Oh, hold on, someone passing me, I'm gonna let him go first. Let's get back to what we were talking about before we were interrupted. Creek crossing. Now, there are a lot of rule tips for river creek crossing, and this is not a tutorial. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not an expert, so I don't want to teach you the wrong things. But these two things that the Icelanders did teach me, and I think that's pretty useful and universal. The first one is, if there is a river, always go, if possible, go from upstream to downstream, because this way the river will push you that way. You're not fighting the river, you're going with the flow. Of course, that's only applying to really, really big river. But the second one I think is really important, and it's a lot of people don't know this because of stupid car commercials, and that is, don't run into a creek full speed and splash all that water all over yourself, because your air intake, especially like Mercedes vans, the air intake is fairly low, and because of the hood aerodynamic design, water will just get scooped up and get into the air intake and your engine will basically just die. So in car commercials, it looks really cool with all that splashing, but in real life, you're just gonna get yourself stuck. So don't do that. Not to mention that you don't know what's under that river, you know, there might be big rocks. So yeah, that's why if you watch what I did when I was going into the creek, I was going very, very slowly. Besides those creek crossing, the road is actually in fairly good condition so far. So let's wait and see. Well, here we are at another creek crossing. I think this is the 4th or 5th one, I can't remember for sure. But this one is very tame compared to the others. Just a standard creek crossing. I am sensing a theme here. We are in a canyon that's carved out by a creek. What do? You do creek crossing. And I can see up ahead there are some narrow parts, so we'll see if the van can make that part. Because the van is as narrow as it is, it's still wider than a Jeep. Once you've done some off-road driving with the Sprinter, you'll become very, very good at backing up. At least here, there's a spot where I can potentially turn around. Oh, but look at this. It's so pretty here. There's a little turn in the canyon. Oh, nice. Well, might as well give you a full view of this canyon here. This big turn, sharp turn. By the way, guys, there is a Doughboy picture right here. And in case you're wondering, looks like this is the source of the creek right here, coming from under the ground. So I'm hoping that up ahead there are no more creek crossings. Oh, there you go. Sensor is going crazy. So as I am climbing up a little bit higher, and it's difficult to tell because I'm sitting in the van, but this is actually a really steep section. And I can feel the van struggling a little bit because, you know, elevation combined with how steep it is. I have been climbing, steadily, moderately climbing for a bit now. But as you can see from there, the road really starts some steep winding climb. Wow, look at that. That is really steep. I just turned on low range. And we're gonna climb up there. That is the valley floor down there, and I just climbed up here, and that is where I'm heading. All right, let's go. Look at this, there's some rockfall here, so this part is pretty narrow. By the way, I'm focusing on driving, so I'm just holding the camera up. I don't know what I'm recording. So if I didn't record anything, if I didn't capture anything, sorry about that, because I don't want to die. Okay, so that was the first stretch. There's actually a spot where you can back up and turn around if you need to. Well, guys, I made it up to the switchback, the first one, but that part is just way too steep. The van did not want to go up there. I think we found the limit of the Sprinter van. Okay, I know it doesn't show on a wide angle camera like GoPro, but in defense of the van, that road was indeed very steep. It was so steep, I didn't even record anything because I was focused on driving. It would have been fine if I were in a Jeep. In this heavy van, it's a different story. Combined with the high elevation, the van was really struggling, crawling at walking speed. I was worried I might overheat the engine or transmission and get stuck, so I pulled the plug and turned around. Just to give you an idea of how steep it is, that part is flat. And I know it's not completely accurate, but I have a leveling app for when I'm camping to find level grounds, and earlier it recorded 23 degrees. Let me see, what is it now? 22 degrees right now. That's how steep this road is. Later, I found out using GPX data, the spot where I turned around was actually about 25 degrees. Hey, that was fun though. show you what it feels like inside the van. That is the level ground right there. So, and this is not the steepest part. Steepest part I wouldn't dare to record. All right, we're almost at the bottom, and then it's easy peasy. To reiterate why I love the low range on the old four-wheel drive. I don't know, maybe the new all-wheel drive has something similar, a similar feature. Comment below and let me know, because I'd be curious. But right now, look, my foot is off the brake right here, and I'm in low range, just crawling down. And I just checked before this, before I picked up the camera. Right now, we're at about a 17 degree downward angle, and okay, I'm gonna have to tap the brake a little bit here. And yeah, this is just crawling down. It's just like in a Jeep when you put it in low range. It's just crawling down the hill, and I'm not burning my brakes. Okay, I've done a lot, and I have to say that was even nerve-wracking for me. And it was so nerve-wracking that I totally forgot to take an epic van on the cliff photo. So I'm just gonna do one here. The rest of the drive back was pretty drama-free, and I got some free tire wash with all the creek crossings. I am back at that first gnarly creek crossing, which now looks tame in comparison, but I'm gonna try to set up a camera from the other side, so I have to cross the creek in my sandals, set up a camera on the other side so you can get a better view of what this crossing is like and what the narrow Mercedes is capable of. Ooh, it's cold. Oh, the stuff I do for my channel. So like and subscribe. Just to show you how narrow the Sprinter track is and how much I love that fact, let me actually switch to one-time zoom. I was in wide angle, and wide angle makes everything wider. This is the track of the Sprinter, and if I had something wider like a Transit, I probably wouldn't be able to make this line. I might have to pick a different line. So outside of those smaller modified Ford Econoline based vans with jacked up suspensions and true locking diffs, Sprinter is probably the best van out there for off-roading. Something to think about if you're in the market for a van. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing, and I will see you next time.